looks at what home means to Ukrainians and the rest of us. The exhibition is devised by curators from Ukraine in collaboration with Liverpool's Open Eye Gallery. Home and will be the largest showcase of Ukrainian photography ever mounted in the UK.
This idea of making the project in Liverpool with Open Eye came very naturally, because we are already working together on Ukrainian photographies. So Open Eye was our main supporter and partner, yeah.
We've been talking to Max and Vitka about Ukrainian photography and how that could operate given the situation in Ukraine. Part of that conversation was trying to understand how they feel, how they're coping with this new world in which they're ousted from their own country effectively. And the more I spoke to them, the more I started to understand that their really basic humanity was connected to their sense of home.
This idea of home, it's maybe very special for Ukrainians now, but on another side, the idea of home is special for everyone. And through this idea, we could tell more about who we are, about our culture, about our history, and of course about the current situation in Ukraine.
For me, home is when I'm in any space that is safe and I'm with my family and my friends. That's home.
Я вважаю, що це енергетика має співпадати, збігатися, і тоді ти відчуваєш як у себе вдома.
I think it's a place where you feel a sense of belonging. I'm from Wales and we have a word called hiraeth, which is a way, it's kind of explaining a longing for home.
Це щось тепле, щось дуже затишне, там, де тобі надійно, безпечно, комфортно. Тому ми всі вимушені були виїхати, тому що тут було більше небезпечно. Хоча це наш дім. Я дуже рада, що я змогла повернутися нарешті. Зараз, хоч і тут ще не безпечно, в принципі, на всій території України зараз небезпечно, але в дім все одно тягне.
Before the invasion, the concept of home was quite obvious. First of all, I've never thought about it because I had this feeling what home means, and it was very obvious. But when I was forced to move, my practice started to be focused on this concept of home a lot, because I feel that I was forced to move and I am a displaced person now. And also I started to photograph displaced people in Lviv, and I felt these personal connections because we've basically experienced almost the same, right? So I was questioning myself what home means, and I was questioning them. But I feel that my answer for now is kind of self-defense mechanism, because I feel that if I will be attached to any particular place or people, I cannot do this now because I could be hurt, because they could be erased from Earth soon. Hope not. So for now, for me, home is just my camera, my laptop, and as soon as I am photography is my home, and this is, I feel like the self-defensive mechanism of feeling myself secure.
We have only 20 artists. Of course, we want to put more and more and show more information, more photographs, more artistic approaches. But we try to maybe show different types of Ukrainian photography, different approaches.
We try to create kind of constellations of meanings and practices which make sense together, maybe which will make sense as a whole for the audience. So the challenge is really to try and fit as much of Ukrainian photography into the projects we have.
Home. Home is a loving burn. All white-hot heat. The close comfort indents itself on our skin. Then flares, siren, a forced escape, and fingers snatch for family photos, clasping close Nan's homemade blanket.
We've been working to put Ukrainian photographs with English words. We've managed to commission 6 incredibly powerful UK poets to write in response to a Ukrainian photograph.
I am land. I'm happy for you to live on me, till and plough, graze your cattle, build your homes upon me. I will feed, nourish, even bury you, but I do not belong to you. I have no name, flag, or anthem. Call me world.
I think it's very important to understand that Russia only actually moved out of the Ukraine in 1991. There's been a relatively short period in which Ukraine has been reclaiming its culture and then actually growing a contemporary culture. And Max and Vitka, although young, are actually leading the way in many ways in terms of photography particularly. Max was working at the main institute in Kiev as a curator. Vitka has been involved in contemporary fine art and culture of Ukraine, really driving a European understanding of Ukrainian culture. So they're young, but then Ukrainian contemporary culture is very young. So they're part of that new wave of bringing Ukrainian culture to the world.
Culture has this potential to actually change people's perception of the world, of the way they can exist in the world, the way they can exist together in the world.
For us, it's an opportunity to tell them more about Ukraine. Tell them that Ukraine is not only about the war, not only about the Russia. Ukraine we have our own history, our own great culture, modern culture, contemporary culture.
The picture is my self-portrait, made during the blackout in Kiev last winter. It's just me inside of my apartment, my own fortress, my own bird's nest, looking at the viewer and saying, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm happy to be here. I'm grateful to Ukrainian forces for this possibility to live here, to love, to be loved, and do my work, to be a photographer.
I trust that there will be some spare compassion for the love I left at home from those who I find here, and from the one who sees us clear, the one who watches from above.
I use a bird of view because I found it's the best way to show communication and interaction between people, and also the interaction with the space they're living in. I feel that this is my personal thing I'm doing now, so this question of home and how people who lost one or fled one, how they deal with losing one and how they reinvent their lives here. So I started to visit Ukrainians both in UK and in France and Germany, and I took photographs of how they live there. So my process was staying with them, living with them for a while, and just taking photographs of how they live. I didn't want to be photographed staged because I like when they're more alive. I think my intention was to show the life of displaced in non-cliched way, because there are a lot of cliches about displaced people or refugees, and I wanted to show a bit more humanic and about maybe more routine way of how they reinvent their lives, so people will be more connected.
Що для вас значить дім?
О, бляха. Дім. Ви мене засмутили.
Ні, ви подумайте, собака веде себе нормально.
Але я намагаюся тримати себе в руках. Ой. Ну, якщо чесно, я завжди все своє життя думала, що я зможу жити в іншій країні. Для мене це, супер ізі. Я швидко адаптуюся, молода людина, я гарно знаю англійську. Але я навіть не поїхала в іншу країну, я просто виїхала в інше місто. І це виявилося дуже складно. Якщо чесно, я не розуміла цінності дому там і так далі. Але після того, як ти щось втрачаєш, напевно, ти починаєш інакше цінувати.
I was in Kharkiv like 2 months ago, and people's faces are changed, and you feel this like disaster and pain in the air. I think It's very difficult to describe. You just feel it, that it's like the feeling of grief everywhere, and the feeling of like danger everywhere. Kharkiv is like not far from our neighbor. It's only 1 or 2 hours for the border. So
it's also, the thing is, when you hear the missile alarm, in Kharkiv it's not enough time to get into the shelter, because first you hear maybe the explosions of rockets, and then you hear the alarm.
Okay. So should we go inside? Should we go inside?
You can go, yes.
The problem is that this permanent feeling of stress everywhere, so you can hide it, you can't, I mean, it's everywhere. That's the main problem. So my feeling of home, okay, I feel like Ukraine is place, like my home country, my home place. I would love to live here and stay here, but this feeling of safety and protecting us, it's not working anymore. That's the problem. That's the main problem, I would say.
Photography is probably one of the most flexible, reflective mediums. It's very accessible to many people because people practice photography on a daily basis worldwide. So probably if we want to talk about Ukraine and contemporary history or culture of Ukraine, photography is probably the most fitting, the most suitable medium to talk about it.
A year ago I was here, and when my family went abroad, I was not thinking to make photos. I was just like snapping some shots while I was doing some like more important things. I was going from my home to the center of Kiev through the totally empty streets, and I did a picture on Khreshchatyk, on the main street. There is a guy on the bike with some like gun on his shoulder. The idea is simple: it's just to transfer the state, the moment, to other people. It is a time machine thing.
If I die here frozen, fierce, forlorn, so be it. I'll not leave my shell, my home. Home, flesh, blood, bone, home, skin, not stone, now that my loved one's gone.
Ну так краще.
In the ordinary light, look up. You must hold your life closer. This is survival. Every stranger is you. Reach out your hand.
Whole districts stripped of the cadences of blank normality, light by lurid light, until all that remained were the ghosts of ourselves hanging in the pitiable sky like distant stars or decapitated lampposts.